today we're going to spend an hour, and we have a fantastic and diverse set of panelists with us today from platforms, TV channels, pure players in this space. It's an hour, but we'll learn so much. We're going to be hungry for more. Trust me on that. So let's get started. Maybe just a quick round of intro, guys. Who are you? What are you doing, etc. And let's do. Yeah, you can go first. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Maxime. So I'm the Chief Business Officer of Euronews Group, which, long story short, is a news network operating globally. At a glance, we are operating 18 media languages globally in 160 countries at the moment, and that obviously paved the way for business expansion on our side because we are an independent company. So looking at eyeballs, data, and revenues, that's why we've been expanding quite heavily fast as of 2019. And at the moment, we're pursuing the same path with addressable TV. And that kind of local monetization opportunities which we're going to discuss today.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Duo Manga. I'm the VP Product and Services at Accessonka. For people that don't know, Accessonka is an oil subsidiary. What we are doing, we are using our experience, more than 25 years of experience and expertise at our group to provide solution to content provider and service provider. Part of the solution is security solution, monetization solution, content discovery, end-to-end content delivery. So we are providing solutions in different areas. In the past 5 years, I'm handling and leading all our monetization solution around targeted advertising, around user-driven TV. Those two topics are very much related, and I will show you a bit about that in a minute.
Hi, thank you very much for bringing me to Prague. It's been very amazing. I am Jennifer Batty. I'm head of content acquisitions for Samsung TV Plus. Hopefully everybody knows who Samsung is, but I'll give you a quick feel just in case. We are the #1 manufacturer of televisions, connected televisions for the last 17 years. We have in Europe, we have about 34% of the market share of connected TVs, which is significantly higher than #2. We have, we are, so as Samsung TV Plus, we launched in 2018-2019 here in Europe. We are in 16 countries, and we are a FAST and AVOD service. We have, in 16 countries in Europe, we have over 1,000 channels, including a number of channels and partnerships with everybody here on the stage.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Philip Rodderman. I'm CEO and founder of We Do TV, an AVOD streamer founded 5 years ago. And originally started as a pure AVOD service with apps on all regular devices, even also on Samsung, iOS, etc. And we never thought we were going to do channels again. And now I'm sitting here and running 5 channels all of a sudden. How funny. And yes, we're partnering with Samsung, Rakuten, and to quote your boss, we're all frenemies. I really like that one. And I'm happy to be on this panel and looking forward to the discussion.
Hi, I'm Marcus Melidis. I'm the Chief Content Officer for Rakuten TV. Rakuten TV is a streaming platform where we offer transactional, AVOD, and FAST channels. We're available across all 43 countries of Europe, and we're available across 140 million households through smart TV manufacturers and other devices.
Hello, my name is Raymond Kohler. I am a CEO of Monetising Group, so I'm the car and motorsport guy here on the stage. We're producing car-related content since 30 years and are operating pay TV channels in several languages across 100 countries. And 2018 we launched with the Samsung TV Plus our first fast channel, and now we have 7 fast channels across the globe on nearly all of the relevant platforms. Also with Rakuten, fast, and I'm very delighted to sit on the panel here. So thank you.
So fast, free ad-supported streaming TV. We could debate what it is exactly, but essentially it's free TV in the age of streaming. It's a lean-back experience versus, an on-demand or an SVOD experience like what you may have on a Disney First question for you guys, a bit of an icebreaker, because we work in this business, but do we make use of what we're putting out there? I hope so. So what is the favorite fans channel that you're watching, and besides your own, right? So if you're telling me your own news, that doesn't count.
I guess again, that depends on the country first.
Okay, let's say...
In some countries, fast is really the main thing you offer, so
Yeah.
you get to have your own habits in that type of platform, where in this case you can have the main local TV channels, you can have movies, you can have scripted content, and news as well, if you're news, but that's the typology of media which works well still on the linear experience, with a high engagement and repetition rate. So you're going to feed the AI, you're going to feed your UX, and then you're going to face often news, scripted. That's it. Maybe sports as well. That was the reason, obviously. That depends on the right countries.
Anyone that you watch that you would name? Because like I'm a Hell's Kitchen, kind of not, it helps me turn my brain off.
On Samsung TV Plus?
Actually, yes. Yes, I had to think about that, but yes, I have a Samsung TV.
But in general, I think that the question is not what is our favorite channel, but what is the audience favorite channel.
Oh, it was a bit of an
But anyhow, I think that the idea is to bring the right channel in front of the right person. Okay, today you see the variety of channels. So again, part of choice, it was discussed earlier today, is there, and the idea is to bring the right channel in front of the right person.
So at Samsung we have, as I mentioned, over 1,000 channels in the 16 countries in Europe. And if I looked at what is my favorite channel, I tend to say, okay, not on Samsung TV Plus yet. And actually my favorite fast channel is not yet created, and it would be Yellowstone. Because of my background growing up on a ranch, it's exactly what I would love to sit back and watch. So just building on from your question, one of the things that when we look at the channels that we bring onto the platform is who's the audience, what do they want to watch, what haven't they yet realized they want to watch, and try to bring that to them, be it Yellowstone. When that comes up, as it's not yet, it would be NCIS.
Besides obviously monitoring my own channels to see if everything is correct the whole day, that's my office, we have a couple of screens to see that. I'm probably watching most of the time news apart from that, which I kind of like.
Okay, well, favorite channel, right? That's like asking who's your favorite child. I think, well, I can say lately I've been watching TED Talk, which was one channel that we just recently launched on TV. I think it's a really nice mix in terms of content offering information, cultural, it's a bit more laid back as well. And so a broader audience. So personally, yeah, I enjoy the content.
If you're dealing with content programs the whole day, if I want to relax in the evening, I'm a sci-fi guy, so I love the Star Trek channel, which is on Pluto. I'm sorry guys, but I like it.
That's very cool. I love that. I would watch Yellowstone channel any day for a bit of Kevin Costner. Guys, the development of France really started a couple of years ago, but in your opinion, what spurred this old, newish model of lean-back TV viewing within mostly the connected TV space? What was this igniter to the ecosystem at an industry level and then within your company, right? How did you come about getting into FAST? Because you're a TV manufacturer, you guys were traditional, broadcast channels, you were doing AVOD, Rakuten was mostly focused on TVOD. Big shift, right? So, anyone want to take that one first?
Yeah, maybe I start because for us it's really, we started AVOD because we didn't want to do channels. We thought that that time is over. And between my co-founder and myself, we probably launched about 25 or 30 channels in our life already, being from CBS channels and adult entertainment. We really did everything. But then the opportunity came up, and we said, okay, let's try one. And we started with someone who was the first partner. And all of a sudden I said, okay, whether we make money or not, but at least we can transport our brand into more households. And all of a sudden, there's money. So we started the second and the third. But we always had the approach, and I think you mentioned it earlier, it's not only fast, it's free TV. It's just a different way how you transport it from a technical point of view and how you sell the ads. And there was this panel about addressable TV earlier, and I think that's exactly where we are. Linear channel is addressable or like dynamic insertion. I think that's the beauty that makes it easier to sell ads. We don't have to wait 24 hours for any panel numbers, etc. And that's also our approach. We want to be, of course, we want to be on something. We want to be with Red Button, but also trying to bring our channels on satellite into like classic linear cable, always leveraging the power of dynamic insertion.
Maxime, how did you get started, right? Because you guys had carriage deals globally with cable telecom operators, and then, a few years back, you were amongst the first movers in the new space to start a fast channel.
I guess the market proved it. The typology of media rights as well. Our side, again, we're going to take an example which we experienced together. News is about habits and about you guys being just used to something and find it easily. When the Queen of England, Great Britain, died, we were together, by the way. The first thing that you do is you're going to pop up, you're going to get mobile, and you're going to get access to free content, which is the basis of news. You guys are going to pay for all format investigation of the New York Times or whatever local media. But news has to be easily available, quickly, and you're going to consume the things that you are used to consume. So that day, everybody looked at their phone, and the extreme majority of the people which were included in speaking, 80% of the people were then consuming TV while being home and or in the hotel. So for us, the connected devices and the fast ecosystem is just an expansion of the nature of reach we need to have in a much more targeted way in terms of business model, obviously, as you discussed, that provides new revenue streams. And that also offers a data-driven environment, which is of help for us to make decisions on which type of content we want to place, what time of the day, what type of language. And I'd say eventually it also allows you to fight the problems getting into cable platforms in a way, which is saturation, maturity of that market, and price sensitiveness of the people. Because fast is an excellent way to target a new bunch of people in markets and countries where the TV is really expensive, where the penetration is lower, for instance. So for us, it's been new audience, new data, new revenues, and the ability of creating new usages, which in 3 years led us to last year over 70 million hours of streaming. So the market is there now, the usage is there, and as we, I guess, witnessed, it really starts being rather interesting as well.
As a technology company, did your clients, come to you and say, we want to do something in the advertising space, or did you go to them? How did it happen?
I think this is a mix. As I see fast today, this is the linear TV of the OTT. As simple as that. This is the same linear TV that we all watched until recently, as linear TV in cable. Now we see it in OTT. And when you have this tool of segmentation of data, as you mentioned, you want to use it. And we see our customers coming to us, the service providers, they want this content available. This is one. The second is also the content owner that we are working with them. Now, the local content owner want to be part of the game. They want to deliver their content to all those platforms. So they are coming to us, say to us, can you introduce us? Can we be there? So this is I would call it a part of the ecosystem that is meeting both sides.
Marcus, I like the fact that Rakuten was transactional video on demand, right? So whatever movies you wanted to watch, you had to buy for 48 hours or to own it like a DVD. Very early on, 2019, and we were working together in different companies, but that's when you guys, got started. So how did you feel there was a need for that? Because at the time in 2019 in Europe, there was not much going on.
That's right. Actually, we started in 2018 when we noticed what was going on back in the States. And for us, it was pretty much a mix of two forces. So you had on one side TV manufacturers that had dramatically improved the hardware device and also the UI, which therefore enabled customers, particularly in America, being able to consume more of the smart TV apps and not rely as much on the dongles, but actually use the smart TV device. And then on the other side, from a business perspective, we had the necessity to diversify. We saw it coming. Threats, for example, of studios doing their own direct-to-consumer subscription services that would impact transactional. But we also knew we could put our eggs in one basket. So we had the scale. So we had, the branded buttons and the remote control. We had all the TV manufacturer leaders in the market secure distribution, and we couldn't just use that traffic for the challenging conversion on transaction. So we might as well use that as well through ad monetization. So those two things combined made us push to get into that segment.
So very often we use fans or AVOD, everything is very much intertwined. Jennifer, Marcos, on your platform, people can do both, right? Could you speak to that and how that works? And why did you give that possibility of either choosing the linear experience or an on-demand experience?
Within Samsung TV Plus, you have the opportunity to watch fast channels, or you can watch on demand. And I think the two complement each other very much for us because you have the consumers, as the industry evolves and how the consumers evolve, the way people want to consume the content themselves has changed. So you might just come home at the end of the day, turn on your television, turn on your Samsung, and just sit back and watch what comes up there. Or you might think, you know what, I'm going to go get a glass of wine, some cheese. You come back, you switch on the channel you were watching. Oh, that movie started 15 minutes ago. I really want to watch from the beginning. So we give you both opportunities. So it really is, we're trying to address the way the industry is changing and how people consume the content and to give you a little bit of best of both worlds.
How about you, Marcus? Is it the same? Does the fast channels and the AVOD offer exactly the same thing? You're matching the number of titles on both sides, or is it just a subset of one or the other?
Yeah, no, so it's not the exact same content offering. But I fully agree with what Jen said, that you have to have both. So it's a different audience. One segment will want to proactively seek for content that they want to watch, as opposed to another audience, which has a different target demo, that just simply wants to sit down, relax, and not have to choose. So that type of offering, I think not only needs to be on the platform, but the way we feel it is, it needs to have both equal prominence, because we've noticed that other platforms in the industry, they might have both offering, but there's a clear preference of which business model they want to do. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but in our view is you should try to capitalize on both of them, because one does not cannibalize on the other. It's just a different audience.
And I think just to build on from that, I think it is a different audience, but yet it's also the same audience, because it could be, the demographic they sort of look at, maybe an older demographic who wants to be streaming, watching what is programmed for them at the time that we as the channels are telling them, versus the younger audience watching on demand. But I think it's almost, those two groups are sort of merging, because I think it depends on, as you come home, what you're looking for. So it really does answer to offer up both on demand and streaming, sort of fast channels, really offers up different opportunities for the single consumer. It's, it depends on your day and what you're looking for, and you do blend across those two demographics.
So who watches fans? Do we really know? Is it the same people as on traditional TV, or is it appealing to those light TV viewers? What are you seeing? It seems that it's still a fairly new business, and that in terms of measurement and transparency on that front, we don't know much yet. But I guess maybe you guys know a bit more.
Hopefully we do. Yes, so I think streaming in the UK, we're seeing an increase of people streaming content on their connected TVs, on their tablets, on their mobiles. In the US, they can watch Samsung TV Plus on their fridge. So it's all about the devices you can stream, in multiple places. But in 2021 to 2022, they saw an increase of streaming in the UK, and now about 72% of devices, Samsung devices, stream content. So it really, we're moving and evolving from that traditional television, linear, older school linear, to what the streaming option gives. And we do have the ability with the data that we see, watch where people are coming in, what is it that they're consuming, is it within the fast, or are they then moving from there to an AVOD, to a linear channel, to a different app. So we do see them stay within the ecosystem, within
think you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, I think the data is probably the biggest issue in the thing. I mean, you're providing some data, but unfortunately, but having said that, I think yes, there will be a shift from traditional linear and more, creative channels, and I think that's the beauty about fast or free TV, or this new free TV, or however you want to call it. I think the beauty is you have this highly curated channels. You don't have this, on RTL or whatever, I'm watching, I don't know, I'm probably saying the wrong show. I think Top Model is interesting. I don't even know. So, but you have this show, and then you have all of it's on the featured movies. So for you, zapping through the channels, it's hard because there's this big variety, which is not great. Whether in fast, you have a big variety, which is great. Most of the channel name already does tell you what you can expect, and I think that is what the audience likes, and that's where the shift is. And then also, the advertisers like that because they can really target the advertising without cookies, etc. It's just because the content already has a certain duration.
Raymond, you have a whole range you have a wide portfolio. What do you see between your PTV channel audience and your fast TV channel audience? Do you have any view on that, or is it a bit of a black box, like Flip is saying?
First of all, doing pay TV since 15 years was always the problem getting no data, especially from the bigger operators. Yeah? So it was flying blind.
Yeah.
So fast provides us some data, it's also not as much as we as a broadcast would love to have. But what we are realizing, we are rebranding our channels now because we have our pay TV product named Monetising TV and our fast channels named Monetising TV as well. So we're getting emails and calls from viewers of fast channels saying, we're sitting in front of your channel and watching for hours, when is the live motorsport coming? And so far we had the live motorsport behind the paywall on the pay channel. So we see that people are using it, but they cannot see the differentiation. So we are now rebranding our pay product and our fast product. But of course, the big advantage for us and also for the advertisers is, I think fast channels are normally very genre-based, niche channels, very dedicated to a specific audience, and it is measurable. And so the advantage of pay TV had in the past that it's high quality, brand safe content, which is good for advertisers, but without any measurements, it's difficult. It's now combined with fast because it's brand safe, it's a dedicated audience, and it's measurable.
From a viewer perspective, because at the end of the day, you do that to attract, new viewers, or existing ones from different platforms. But how different is their experience between the two? Is it essentially? It seems to say that it's the same to them, but how the ad experience in fast in comparison to on traditional TV?
Honestly, we need to look a little bit back. We started fast channels by accident. We got contacted in 2018 by a German media group who was appointed by Samsung to collect some channels to build up the Samsung TV Plus. And there was a big fair in Germany, IFA, International Funkausstellung, and they needed a channel for a showcase. So they asked us if we can provide content to be the showcase channel. And honestly, I was thinking about rejecting that because I asked, okay, how much money do we get? I said, nothing. I said, okay. But then we said, let's give them the YouTube content which we have free available anyhow that doesn't bother my pay business. And then we realized, okay, this is going to be watched, this is going to make some revenue. So then we started a couple of years ago to treat the fast channels like real TV channels, not simple playlists of YouTube content. And now we acquired specific motorsport rights, live motorsport rights, just for the fast channels. So we are now doing live motorsport on the pay side, but dedicated for the fast channels, we're trying to also give a very high quality content offering to the viewers, because you don't earn money if no one's watching the channel, and if your content is not good and the schedule is not good, you can stop the whole operation. And so it must be a good product. And there's a big change between the early days where you have seen so many channels, really poor quality, very less content channels, but now platforms are pushing the channels also by how much content, how refreshment rates, and what do you do live, maybe exclusivity, which is good for the quality of the channels, but difficult on monetization because fast is still, it is still compared to DTH or satellite or cable, it's still just a small portion, so it needs to grow.
Good segue into what are the key ingredients of fans channel. So we've spoken about content a few years back, or maybe very focused on archive library content. It was a playlist. There was no thinking in terms of the scheduling, right? Whereas today, you see original exclusivities. You see thinking in the programming. You have blocks, etc. The same way that you would have on traditional TV. So putting aside content. We need great content, but someone who wants to start in this business next week, what else? What is the other key ingredients? Philip?
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding, but I think that's the problem we see in the market. Every production company, distribution company who has a couple of hours of content in their basement, they think now, I'm going to do broadcast. But you're not, because there are challenges. I mean, obviously the hurdle is much lower. There are a couple of companies out there, Amagi, World, whoever, Otera, they come and say, it's just €1,000 and you have your channel. And then in the end, there are the costs. You need to have to make sure you have good ad sales, you have a program planner, etc. to make it nice. At least exactly what Raymond said, you have to have good refreshment rates. I think that's kind of the key thing. And I don't know the sentence, content is king and distribution is queen. I would love to put a quote to it, but I don't know who said that. But yes, and then it comes to distribution, because you make a great channel, but if no one's watching it, then you have a problem. And yes, Samsung is the biggest, 35% market share, that's great, but in comparison to the television satellite market, it's only 10%. Let's see from a German, let's say European perspective. And I think that's where these two worlds need to grow together to get a higher reach and a good distribution, because then, from a revenue perspective, a fast channel can be as successful as, let's say, a channel that has 1 or 2% market share of the audience.
I wanted to ask you, what does it take to launch a fans channel from a technical standpoint? How different is that from broadcast?
In general, I think in both cases, you need someone that will take care about your channel. Okay, Philip just said, it's not that easy that you have the content and you think it is 1,000 a month and it's been done. Someone needs to be the system integrator and put it and make sure this channel is available, there's good quality of this channel. I also think that something that is missing, that is going back to what Raymond said before, is the data. You need to understand the users that you are going to broadcast the channel to. You need to understand the segment, and according to that, to build the channel. Okay. You mentioned in the beginning that you still channel. So if we understand that, we can build the content, and we can build the lineup automatically if we understand that. So this is something that today is missing, and I think that still fast is growing, and we need to address it more like the linear of the OTT and give it the respect. So managed service with high availability, good content, something that is addressing the users, the segmented users, and we will see also more premium content on that, because the revenue and the monetization will be higher.
Monetization, Maxime, how did you go about that? Were you already monetizing your existing channels, and therefore for your ad teams there was this extra inventory coming their way? Is it easy?
So we had a different path on our side. First, unlike most of the guys in that fast ecosystem at the beginning, we spent 6 months in 2019 and partly working with Rakuten on that. We were beginning together. We are offering at the moment the same exact media which you can find on any platform. To check it, Sky in the UK, everything. So we spent time on having people that were building on the one side the tech infrastructure, and on the other side the grid, so that we could monetize the same flagship live product. So obviously nowadays, after 3 years, most of the fight for us is about which way our main battles are, which way can we make the monetization much more efficient, which way can we improve the sell-through rate, which way can I use still the skills of an old media and traditional media, which we have with 50 people, for instance, working on ad sales, So we really focus on that. And the very big strategy was we're going to put the localized native flagship product, and the whole responsibility of monetization will be bared by the platforms, Samsung for instance. And in that way, we thought we could incentivize the platform in the highest possible way to put us at the forefront, to work with us and work with them on the monetization scheme, and then use the people that they have internally. So at the moment, yes, monetization is key for us. Again, news works quite well in that ecosystem. The thing is also that we provide 11 media all being different and localized. So at the moment, monetization is really the key thing. We can keep on having the exponential growth that we have on that path, thanks to parking growth opportunities.
Herman, how about you? How did you go about that? Do you do your own monetization?
It would take too long. It's very, very complex because we have more than 70 partners across the globe, and some partners. Yeah, some partners are insisting on selling the ads on their own, like Amazon, and so it's very different. So on some charities and some platforms, we are selling our ads with an inventory split, and then it's depending on the territories whether we have the competence or we are looking for partners, as we are European-based and I have no experience to sell ads in Latin, so then I need to look for partners. So it is really from territory to territory and platform to platform. We have different models, of course. Monetization is the reason why we're doing it. I mean, otherwise, just for fun, brand building, that's nice, but at the end of the day, someone needs to pay the bill. And lucky-wise, we can cross-finance the whole fast business with pay TV services, which are declining and fastest growing, so then it's a steady business anyhow. But there's still a way to go that the fast channels would be profitable purely if I would have to pay for the programs, the dedicated programs of the fast, and if I could not cross-finance it. But it's, we see it since 5 years, it's a steady growth, and some markets slower, some markets much faster.
Yeah, about that, you're for the German market, so maybe you're the one with the best illusion, you and Marcus, on what are so the US is grabbing the biggest chunk of revenue. They've been at it for more than 5 years. Still early days, there's not that many platforms in the region. Within the region, what are the top markets that you guys see? Both streaming hours and predictions of revenues.
I think from a Samsung TV Plus point of view, I think there's a couple of things I just wanted to go for the conversation. I think one of the things that was really interesting is when we were talking about brand awareness. So from when you're looking, I'd love to say that we're all in the business because we love the business, but it is about monetization. And within the fast environment, it really is about brand awareness because it is how do we build brands so that people know what they're watching. And that's, things that people come in, or I think you were just mentioning, there's single IP channels, like Hell's Kitchen. It's great, you know what it is, you know what you're going to get. And we need to work, as Samsung, we need to work with our partners to make sure that our viewers know what the channels are, so that they understand what it is that they can find. And then that helps, again, with monetization. But with monetization point of view with Samsung, we work very closely with all of our partners to ensure that we can, if we are responsible for advertising, which is what we look to do, we work with them on different opportunities with advertisers. So with Samsung, it's not just a 30-second spot that an advertiser can buy into, and we need to give them different opportunities. So we have first screen. The first thing you do, the first thing you see when you turn on your television. There's within the Discovery world, with the mastheads, and then you can do the 30-second spot. So for an advertiser, we offer up quite a variety of different areas for us to monetize, which then helps build our partnerships and revenues with our partners. That was a lot there. Sorry. And then again, just the content is king, content is queen. All of these things, we need to be as local as possible. And the more local that we can be, we are a global company, but we do have local teams and we focus on local content strategies. And that's where we see the consumption. So for us, our top 2 countries at the moment, the UK and Germany, is where we see the greatest number of eyeballs, the greatest number of viewers, revenue at this point, but all of the other countries we're starting to see an increase, and every year it's going up and up, including every month it is. Spain, Italy, France, Netherlands, as it becomes more of a way of habit rather than sort of the uniqueness of turning tuning in.
Marcus, you're in 42 markets. What do you see? What are the trends?
Yeah, I think UK is clearly the standout leader at this moment, especially because it also was one of the early adopters. And then within Western Europe, for me, it varies depending on where we're looking at, because Rakuten TV, let's not forget, it's not only a platform, but it's also a channel provider. So if, when we're looking explicitly at Samsung TV Plus, I agree. I mean, it's UK and Germany, the first scale group, followed closely by France, Italy, and Spain. But when you look specifically at the Rakuten TV app, I think that's more balanced, that discrepancy between Germany and the rest of Western Europe. So it really fluctuates as well throughout the year. And that's also because of content offering and other differences as well when you compare one platform with another. But that there's still a big gap as well between that, U5, top 5, tier 1 markets versus the other markets. Having said that, it all comes down to general state localization. So it's great to see that we're the only platform that has fast offering in 42 countries in Europe. But obviously that content localization, particularly for fast channels, is around 20-ish countries. So that's what we're trying to build as well throughout these new markets. I think Poland was a great example where we recently launched for the very first time localized channels, and it was a significant increase in the exact in our end measure. So that's the path that we're trading.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe ask Jen, because we are seeing from the numbers that Spain has increased massively from the viewership side. Unfortunately, not on the monetization side yet, but it's growing as well. And maybe I'm wrong, I have not the total channel numbers in my mind, but I think in Spain there are less channels than in UK and Germany and some people, so if I'm right. And this leads me also to another point, which is very important. I think to be successful on the fast channel side, you need to have your team and provide highlight promotion so actively to the platforms, because the platforms having 100, 150, Roku has 400 channels on, they're not waiting, they're not contacting you and asking, hey, I promote your channel. So you need actively go to the platform to get maybe a promo, and then this helps you massively increase the viewership and the monetization, of course.
Very, very much. I think it's that in Spain we're seeing an increase in numbers. I think part of that is that we introduced retransmission out of some of the free-to-air channels, so with RTVE, but we see a really strong halo effect with that. People come in to watch something on RTVE, but they stay and they watch something on another channel. So we see that as bringing people in. And we're seeing also now an increase in the monetization going up, which is great, and hopefully will continue to rise. But I think exactly as you said, the more that people can supply to partners from a marketing proposals, what's coming up, what do you have, what's the exciting things, with the live motorsports, the more that we know in advance, the more that we can tell the consumers, the more that we can shout out about it, draw viewers and advertisers to that area or to that channel. I think that local is really, it's super important, and we do look at every single market differently in respect to channel numbers and what, you're right, Roku has 400 channels. That's great for them, that's fabulous. For us, we see kind of the 120, 130 mark is what seems to appeal to our consumers and the Samsung users that are out there. We don't want to have hundreds and hundreds of channels that people can start watching. We want to make sure we have a very curated selection for each country. And you'll see, that is up to our aim. We don't want to. We want to offer what you want to see, not offer you what you might not want to watch and maybe never going to watch. So we will have less numbers. I think also, like when you look at the US, their numbers are significantly higher. The cord cutting from pay TV is very different there. The pay TV industry is very different there versus, in Germany or Spain or, so we have to look at each market.
There's plenty of free content in Europe already. up as easily as in the US, where they pay over $120 a month to get TV for sure. We spoke this morning about addressable TV, and we're even later on connected TV advertising. Something that comes back is the education portion, right? So viewers are there, but there's still work to be done to have more of them, to have more time with you. How about agencies, advertisers? Are they paying attention? Is it big enough for them to take notice? Yes, go for it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think if you look, I mean, we have 3 territories at the moment: UK, German speaking. It is 3 weeks, which has been a great start for us, by the way. Thank you, Jen. Now, I think what you see, I mean, if you look at Germany, I think the ad sales market first quarter was down 50% or probably 20%, like the overall broadcast television spend. While if I look at our internal growth, I think we've been 100% above the previous year. I think, I mean, obviously grabbing the budgets from the classic broadcasters, and there's less budgets, but they're shifted to digital. So that we're in a great spot, and yes, the agencies, they're recognizing what's going on, and because it's targetable, it's measurable, it's not kind of 5,000 measurement boxes in Germany, I think it's 3,000 in the UK, and so they really know whether their ad has been displayed or not.
I think with the fast market, I think it has been a hot topic in a lot of events around Europe for the last years, I think. And we see, even just with the different countries that we're in, the interest from the advertisers. They're coming to us, they want to know more about it, they want to understand more, they want to understand what is the connected TV, what is the audience that they're reaching out. So I think we will continue to see the shift of dollars. I don't know the figures exactly, but it is, I think we've seen an increase in revenue across Europe by about 20 to 30% this year, which, you'll normally at the beginning of the year, numbers start out a little bit slower. We've seen them have an increase year on year. So I think that just sort of goes to show us that there is a shift of the dollars from linear to connected.
Just what you just said, I think that once we will be able to show them the numbers, where the audience is coming from and where they're going after the attribution, this is what advertisers are looking for. And in order to do that, we need to be a little bit more creative with the monetization. I think fast today is really at its beginning, and still we see the spot, the linear spot. Again, we are trying to reproduce the branding effect of TV, but now we have data. So why we are not doing attribution? Why we are not doing second activation? And those kind of solutions available. We are, for example, offering them, and once we will see those kind of solutions of monetization being embraced by the market, so we will see the money shift even more. It's not shift only from the what we call broadcast TV, it will be shift from digital. Okay, so I can tell a story about one of the biggest gaming company in Israel, worldwide. What they're doing today, they are buying connected TV, but what they are missing in order to have much more money invested there is the attribution. And we are able to provide it. And this is exactly where I see the monetization pattern going.
So we talked earlier about the fact that it's free TV, essentially. The only difference being that you don't need the broadcast license, the infrastructure, etc. So in theory,
Don't you?
No.
That's not true with broadcast license.
Do you need one?
We just launched a big partner, and they requested for the first time broadcast license, so we applied for it. So it's you can just speak for Germany or Switzerland, the other territories, and it's legal requirement, but it's a gray zone, but some territories or some partners are requesting it.
So it's going to start to happen. Okay, let's say maybe the infrastructure is not exactly the same, but so I think I mentioned that they were looking at working with Vivo and Fast. Is that correct? Huh? That's what you were mentioning, that you were keen on having actually the Vivo channel with it, the high offering. How is that going to play? Free-to-air, traditional legacy channels, and then fast channel pure players.
This one you can take it because we're obviously in the middle of that on our side. 900 broadcasters classic, free TV, pay TV, globally around but it has to be seen as an extension of it. It's not just a business on its own. The interesting thing is when you are able to take the best out of the fast environment and apply it to the rest of your ecosystem. On our side, we had one fruit, which was there's still 2/3 of those 900 people paying us with license fees. Especially for news, which is quite hard to realize because all of us are consuming it free. At the very beginning, part of the company was quite afraid that fast would be, if growing, cannibalizing the rest of our business. Nowadays, thanks to data, thanks to the usages, thanks to the leadership we also have in that space, we're managing in 2/3 of the situation, not only to renew the contract, but to renew it with higher prices. Thanks to that ecosystem. And the other way around, the very interesting thing, which is the trickiest one with fast, about monetization and theory and adapting the product. It gets to be even more interesting on the revenue side and on the experience side for users when you are able to put that into the TV ecosystem, which means putting monetization and targeted advertising onto linear podcast, multicast, adapting your UX on the very classic TV based on the things that you're learning on TV. So nowadays, the fastest growing business line is obviously fast, but has a way more interesting ad-supported TV. We are launching a facility in France, we are having the same thing in the Netherlands, we are working with a couple of German companies, for Germany and Austria. So it gets even more interesting for any single content provider once you are able to apply the single fast into the free TV ecosystem, which is also going a bit into the data way, into the personalization of UX, and you are able to do both. That's just what I wanted to say as well. It can serve as one tool.
Actually, as I said earlier today, it's about people, and the advertisers just want to reach the people. They don't care if they watch it fast, CTV, AVOD, they just want to have the reach. And this is exactly what is happening today. Okay, so part of what is happening in France is happening with Orange. Okay, and we see exactly that. They are using the data, they are leveraging the data in order to see the reach. They are even today learning what you are watching in traditional linear TV when they don't get data, and after that, in order to get the reach, they are targeting you in the TV.
So, big differences region-wise. So we were saying the US, this one big market, cord cutting is more of a thing. Free is extremely appealing, so these guys will, eat 80% or so of the revenues, right? So if we focus on Europe, in your opinion, what could spur growth, what could slow the growth of fast in the region? Can we do better than that and grab more of those ad dollars, or is it going to be difficult? And if so, why?
I think from a Samsung perspective, for us it's about the content and stronger content. So we've seen, just sort of in the last 6 to 8 months, we've launched channels that are exclusive, that are the same content that's coming from, in the UK we have content that's coming from the US, it's, the day of the US or the day after the US, and it's exclusive, so we have content there. We have offer our live sports. We have, in Germany, we have Zone Pass Plus, where we have some of the top football matches from Europe that we broadcast every week. We have original production content there, a preview and highlight show from the UEFA League. So the content we've seen is getting stronger and stronger. And that's our goal at Samsung TV Plus, is to be able to offer stronger content for the people that are watching, because that will help to drive monetization. More eyeballs will come in because the content's better. More eyeballs, more revenue.
Philip, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think these two worlds, the classic broadcast of linear TV and fast, they have to somehow marry together. Currently, we navigate in two EPGs. In our case, we managed to be, some kind of the normal EPG as well, and we see how good the usage is. And I think, looking 2-3 years ahead, there's one EPG, and fast channels will be next to ProSieben and RTL. It just takes some time until the cable networks have adapted to it.
Maybe to add, I see that the broadcasts are very positive that the telcos and the traditional pay TV operators are opening up that market. Just a short example, we never managed to bring our pay TV channel on Orange in Spain. They said, no, we don't want more divisions in pay channel. now they launched fast and they took our channel as a fast channel, so I have a subscriber base of a couple of million households within a second. Of course it needs to be monetized, but this is exactly from a broadcaster point of view, we need to get more reach, and if the traditional pay TV cable operators are opening up that, this will help the whole fast industry. There will be more inventory, there will be more demand on the ad set side, and then it's more money to spend on programming.
Yeah, the winning formula in Europe is going to be different. In the US, it's mostly the smart TV manufacturers, having a stronghold on that space, right? In Europe, cord cutting, again, is less of a thing, so I completely agree with you. Pay TV operators, MVPDs, we had that too earlier. They have fast channels within their basic free TV package. You don't even see the difference between any. And I've spoken to a lot of telecom operators, and the way they see it is that there's some channels, niche channels that they carry that don't get the audience that they necessarily need, and they're actually looking now at how they could replace those with fast channels. And in other cases, it could be the opportunity to augment the portfolio. And one thing that they know really well how to do, I worked for a long time, so I know how difficult it is to get in. But once you're in, something that they know how to do perfectly well is to drive people to the different consumption that they offer, whether it's free TV, pay TV, SVOD, etc. Fast, I think, is a natural extension. So I hope to see more of that, and we'll need to see more of that in order for European markets to pick up as big as the US.
Yeah, I can add to what you're saying. We're really going to see more of that. This is part of what we're doing as a service provider of the platform provider of Orange. So this is exactly part of what we are doing. We are bringing fast to the pay TV industry, and we see the demand. We see the demand from the service providers, the pay TV providers. So we are going to see more than that. And I think another interesting point on Europe, unlike the UK or the US, Europe is very localized. Okay, so I think one of the things that we need to see is the local content providers with local language going too fast, and I think today they have the solution for that. And this will increase also the demand for fast, and it will increase eventually the whole ecosystem revenue.
So we've spoken about how fast has changed from playlists and everything. What do you guys see? And it's a question for each one of you. What do you see coming up in the next 2 to 5 years? What's gonna change and evolve that we could see a lot more of? Maybe we can start with you.
Fast eventually will become the new pay TV, with the same entry barrier, with the same problem of market saturation, with the same problem of how do you coexist in the middle of all that, with the same problem of all the platforms becoming way more powerful than the content providers. So you have to have a clear strategy nowadays. You have to also move quite fast and take it as a natural market extension, absolutely interesting revenue-wise. You have to have the macro picture, not just to think about, I'm going to try to have a content release and put it here and it will work. It needs proper strategy, it needs proper global approach, and it needs to have a mixing between old TV and digital codes all together. Questions will have to be in the next couple of years. How do you fit the AI? How do you exist in the UX? How are you able to have a different content proposition, which in the end makes the platforms guy happy and your P&L happy?
Well,
I think the future is personalized in general. I think that what viewers want is not to be able to choose from thousands of users. They just want to open their TV, and what they intended to watch will be there for them. They don't want to choose. Okay, TV is a very laid-back experience, and I think this is the future of that. So very segmented audience that will get this content to that. And something that I was surprised that was not mentioned here today is the generative content creation. Okay, so I think that content will be created using the AI technology around that. This is something that can definitely be done. In some cases not in use, okay, but in some cases that are very niche, definitely we can create it. some kind of approach on AI, and this is where I see the future.
I'm actually for once lost for words. You know, I think we're, and we say this every year, but I think it is really an exciting time in television. I think that, you know, say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we thought we would be watching television on our phones. You know, now that's the norm, not something that's unusual. So I wouldn't really want to say what do I see that the future is going to bring, because honestly, and yet 6 months ago I would have thought that AI is where it is at today. So I think that it really is, it's about, I think, the future from my side is strengthening content, strengthening our relationships with our partners, seeing how we can work closer to deliver something more for the consumer at the end of the day. But it is pretty exciting, slightly scary, but very exciting time.
I think I said it 3 times already today. I think these 2 words, they have to work together, and then it's all about discoverability. And for us as a broadcaster, but also as a platform, it's kind of managing the search space and offering the right content to the right people.
I think for us,
Hello. For us, future, well, in regards to distribution is precisely what you guys mentioned, like the expansion to more types of device partners. So not only with the smart TV manufacturers, we've already established some partnerships with telcos across Europe. I think that's going to happen more and more, as you were saying, in regards to pay TV platforms, telcos being more open to fast channels. And on the content side, clearly discoverability and content recommendation, at least for us, those are the big gaps that we have as a platform, that there's a huge room for improvement. I think we're still very in 1.0 recommendation phase, and especially now that the content is getting better, the volume of channels are also increasing, so it's critical that you nail that element, so you make the most out of it. And lastly, more so flexible models on content partnerships. So yes, we acquire existing fast channels. We also license content to produce our own fast channels, but we also do these joint venture partnerships where we produce the channel together with a relevant brand, as like we've done with The Guardian and Nola in Spain. So these 3 models are definitely what we expect to exploit in the next couple of years.
I totally agree with what every one of you have said before, and what I see, I think there will be a consolidation in the next years. I don't believe that there will be more and more channels being able to exist and to finance them on their own. And Maxime, what you said, I totally agree. I see at the moment the development, like we had at pay TV over the last 15 years, taking place on the fast side within years. And so the platforms are starting their own operated channels, they're looking for premium content, the spaces are getting smaller. So on the other side, there are thousands of channels out there. There will be a consolidation. Someone needs to watch it. It's too much content coming up. So the best content